Hey there, you're not late, you're just in time. Okay, pledge of allegiance
To
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, well, we have a visitor tonight, Doug Nally. He's gonna give us an update on the flock cameras, right, Doug?
Sure.
Okay.
You want to just pass these around? Let's just kind of break down to help you guys follow through what the process has been like so far. Currently, so we entered into this contract with them to purchase 6 cameras for the county, throughout the county. And so far, with you guys' donation and with the prosecutor's office donation, then we paid for the install on all the cameras. Well, we've only had 2 cameras installed thus far, and as you see on there, I think it was February 13th, is that right? I don't have it on this.
Yes.
So that's when those 2 cameras were installed. That one camera that's marked, if you look down below, it says number 6, which is, it's up on Highway 36, just east of, like 730 east. I don't know if you see it, there's a pole, it's got like a solar panel on it with a little camera on it. So that's what the camera is up there. And then, so as you go through, so we got your guys' check on the 11th of October, the 13th, the sheriff signed our contract. On the 20th of December, we got the check from the prosecutor's office. Their process took a little bit longer than what they thought. And then once we got that, we cut the check for the installation of 6 cameras. We have no control over when they're installed. They sent an email out that says, hey, we're checking out this site. And apparently they have to get permits from DOT and a lot of other different places, wherever these cameras are going. And so they initially installed the 2 cameras there February 13th. So we have that one up here, and then we have one out on US 40 on the far east end of town that's getting all the westbound traffic that goes either 240 or 40. So after that was all done, so in April, we trained all of our supervisors. There's a couple different pieces. You have to go through the training per our SOPs for the search, and there's also a piece that's called alerts. Alerts are things where we'll get notified depending on what you have checked on your box. Any suspended drivers, any vehicles that are, the drivers are habitual traffic violators, if this car's stolen, if the plate's stolen. There's like 18 different things that we can get notified on when a car passes by the license plate reader. Those who don't know, it's a license plate reader. The only thing it does is capture an image of the vehicle and the license plate. It automatically runs that through our database to see if anybody who's registered to the vehicle is wanted, if the driver's suspended, if there's a habitual traffic violator, if the person who has the car, owns the car, is wanted on a warrant. So all those things we can get notified of, and then we can either set up in that area, work that camera, or we get alerted whenever we can. We just try to it's going to get us a lot more contact with the people who are not quite up to par, if you will. But for me as a detective, I mean, it's going to be a wonderful tool. Obviously, I get called in after everything's already over, so to have an access to a camera with potentially finding a vehicle, narrowing down, license plate, find out who that is registered to. So they're all really big pieces that are going to help us. So that's where we're at right now. The next step. So as you see on the 10th, I just got notified by Flock that the camera that's going on the south end of the lake, which is going to be at 675 east and 300 north, it's going to be getting northbound traffic, anybody coming into the lake. That one just got cleared on their permits, so they've sent it to their install people. Now we just wait. We wait until they say, hey, we're coming out, in 3 weeks, and we're going to check the location, and then it's another week after that, it seems like, and then they'll install. So I don't know when that is or when that will be, but that's where we're at. And then the next there is just what Flock gave us as far as those are our 6 cameras that we're using, are the locations. And then I just did a quick little update. So as of today, we've had 3,486 alerts on just that camera from either the suspended, the stolen vehicle, the expired plates, those sorts of things. And for the month of April to currently now, they have taken 83,960 images of plates. So that's in a 1 month period. For those of you who wonder, they don't take any picture of anything else other than the plate, and after 30 days, all of those disappear. So if it's something that we need it for, we have to save that image or it's gone. So, I don't know if you guys have any questions about,
Well, I just think it's worthwhile to read that last sentence on this
Sure.
sheet you passed out. It says Heritage Lake Cameron North caught the stolen vehicle from a shooting in Greencastle. It corroborated stories from suspect about travel after incident. So I think that's just a great example of what a great
That's what it's
tool this
supposed to
could
be
be.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's the only camera that it actually picked up on. It just so happened that, if you heard about that one over in the Castleberry Apartments area, for whatever reason, they decided to cruise around and they ended up hitting on that camera. And then we found that car at a house over on 700 East and 240 after some more information. But they also were just south of the lake talking to some people. You guys probably have issues around that one corner there. I'm sure you know that the frequent place. But so yeah, it's beneficial, and we've had many other camera hits, not in our area, from other places that have helped us solve. The bank robbery in Bainbridge, just as a side note, so we actually had a video footage of a vehicle that we felt was the car. And so at the time, we didn't have the cameras. We contacted Danville, who has them, just gave them a vehicle description, and they sent us what they thought was the car. Sure enough, that's what it was. And we ultimately ended up catching that guy. He did 5 or 6 bank robberies while he was out. He's done this before, so they were kind of familiar with him. But it helped us to narrow it in and find out. So they're really great. I think it's going to be a huge asset for us as a detective side, investigating crimes. If something were to happen in this area, the idea or the mindset is that if it's coming down 36, right, it's going to capture that. If it's coming up from the south, it's going to capture that, and it should help us to solve things.
Hey Doug, is that camera pointing westbound or eastbound?
Westbound.
Okay. When did we sign a 1 or 2 year contract? I can't remember.
So you guys didn't sign the contract, we just spoke about it, and you guys agreed to pay for a 2-year procedure. The prosecutor's office bought 4 cameras for the first year. So now next year, we'll have to pay for the $12,000 for those cameras, and then if you guys are still willing, then you guys would do the $6,000 for that. Just understand that these cameras aren't owned by Heritage Lake, but the process is that we partnered with you guys to help, because we can put those kind of where we thought they would be beneficial for the area, right? That was the mindset. Just like we have them separated or put out in other agencies or other areas of the county, it's because we want to, we're going to have one on the west end of 40, all the way coming from Reelsville, all the way and it's going to be facing eastbound, right? So we'll get all those traffic from 40, and then it's just going to help us. But yeah, that was the mindset.
Well, when does our time start ticking? From the time the cameras are put up or the time we give you the
I
money?
wish. I went to a meeting, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago in Vigo County. They had a user group meeting, and I brought that very question up. I said, listen, for example, Greencastle paid for 4 cameras. They're putting 4 cameras up around Greencastle. They have only had 1 installed. They started the process, I think they signed their contract in May of last year. So there are thousands and thousands of these cameras. And my complaint to them was, it's great that you guys can now have cameras that pick up gunshot and pick up all these sorts of things, but if you don't increase the installation, nobody's going to keep using these cameras because we can't get them. And so I said, how about this? How about when our 6th camera is installed, that's when our date starts? And then we go from there. Well, they weren't buying that because they put 2 up within 3 months. And so in their mind, we have 2 up, we have access to the whole system and any other system, so any other flock camera around in the state of Indiana or actually in the country, we have access to. So in their mind, we're having access, we're using it, they're just gonna keep.
Still feels like we paid for something we haven't
Yeah,
gotten.
very much, we all did, yeah, for sure. I mean, we paid for $3,900 to install 6 cameras, and we've only had 2, so it just,
Doug, do you think it'd help if we wrote a letter and said, hey, you know what, we paid for this, we wanna start, we wanna get a year from when we get use of it? Do you think that would help?
I don't know. I'd like to say that it would, but, I don't think it's gonna, I mean, I brought it up in a meeting, and there was probably 25 or 30 users, people who, other departments who were there, and they all brought up other things, and they're like, well, we're working on the installation piece, we know that's a problem, but.
But we're the ones, I mean, we're kind of the ones paying for part of ours, so wouldn't it help if we wrote a letter?
I mean, it could.
All we wanna do is say, hey, give us a year from when it's
Or the next time the payment's due, we'll just be like, okay, we'll pay you as soon as we're.
after
But the
7
problem is like, the agreement isn't with you guys, the agreement's with the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
So, even if you guys said we're not coming up, we would have to then come up with it because we're under contract. So regardless, we would have to still pay that piece, because what I want to explain is they're not owned by Heritage Lake, they're not owned by the prosecutor's office, but those guys all came together and bought those for kind of like the first installment to get this thing running. I had to really push hard to get these things, because I know that a lot of people think Big Brother's watching, it's something that's great, people don't like these things, but I've seen these things work, and so I really pushed hard to get these, and I was asked to find out any way possible that I could maybe get people to buy in, and so that's what I did. And at the time, it was the best thing we had available.
So you said it keeps the data for 30 days, and that includes a timestamp? So let's say somebody stole my vehicle, and you say that information would be available for you guys to review for 30 days, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. I think 30 days is probably long enough, but you need that.
The idea is that
And the
you'll know
timestamp
it's
is
stolen
on
right
there.
away, right?
Mhm.
So-
Yeah, you may not know, right? I may not know, I may be gone, and I get home, and it's not there when I get there, and
And you'll know,
I want that.
whether it's being driven around in Avon,
that, yeah.
Plainfield.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, it's like, I have access to, I don't know, it's like 3,000 some cameras all over the state of Indiana. And I can narrow those down however I want to do my search. If I just wanna search our cameras here in town, then I hit that, I have one that's set up for surrounding counties, or just Heritage Lake, or just Hendricks County,
Yeah.
so. There's a lot of ways that we can use this thing, and it's paid off a lot already. So,
Thank you, Doug.
sure.
All right, we'll move on to announcements. First of all, if you haven't already gathered, Paul Forbes is out tonight, and he's recovering nicely here from a procedure. So we'll see him again soon. So let's go to Clear Creek Conservancy. I don't see Dwayne Kelly. I assume no report. Floyd Township Fire Department. Jeff?
Jeff Brooks, Floyd Township Fire Department. For the month of April, we had 30 runs, which brings us to 108 runs so far for 2024, which is a 25% increase over the same period of 2023. We've also started a fundraiser program. We're a reseller for a product called Guardian Angel Lights, and this happens to be a kayak kit, which is used in kayaks, paddle boards, jet skis, and so you put this on, this is on your jet, this will be on your water apparatus, and a white one in the back. It's remote controlled. There is a non-remote control as well. This is rated at 3 nautical mile visibility. So if you're out at nighttime and you want to run your paddleboard, you don't have to have lighting, navigational lighting on paddleboards or kayaks, but it sure does keep the fishing boats and pontoon boats from running over you. And that's kind of a good thing. There's other colors available, yellow, all green, all red, white, orange, and people are using those on bicycles, baby strollers, walking, because they're magnetic, so they got a clip that clips to your body. Just when you want to be out at night, or in the daytime, be seen. We use them in the daytime to just light ourselves up on accident scenes, and even to use them to light mailboxes up to notify rescue personnel which house is the right one in a cul-de-sac. So the fire department's selling these along with other lights that go in that line. Just call the fire department number, 765-246-6192. You can also message us on Facebook as well.
Do you need or want any help promoting?
Hell yeah.
Send me an email, buddy. I'll
You got it.
I'll take care of
You
it
gonna do my website for me?
for a price.
Hey, I got a quick question. You indicated there's a 25% increase in runs this year. Do you see any particular reason for that increase? That seems pretty significant.
I went back and looked through the runs. We had more motor vehicle accidents. We did have an increase in those. We actually had a decrease in fire runs, but we had more increase in motor vehicle accidents. And also, the Floyd Township lumberjacks were out quite a bit the first quarter, because after hours, the fire departments in the county are responsible for trees down, and we had about half a dozen of those this month, or this quarter. We do have a few new regulars. It comes and goes in waves. We'll have 2 or 3 patients that are regular lift assists, regular call outs for breathing problems, things like that. And that's just the nature of it. And next month there may be 5 runs all month. It just all depends on how things come out.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jeff. Neighborhood Watch, Ken?
I'll read this for April. Neighborhood Watch met with the Putnam County Sheriff's Department during the last meeting. We discussed the need for an officer to be present here at Heritage Lake, giving them examples of excessive speed throughout the day and trespassing on common properties. The officer was going to report back to the Sheriff's Department with the details we have given during the meeting on April 17th. We are curious to find out what the plan might be. We will continue to push the need of some sort of law enforcement in our community. Meetings every 3rd Wednesday of the month. Next meeting is Wednesday, May 15th at Psalms at 6 p.m. Thank you.
HLCS, no report. Hellnack, Jan, are you reporting?
Yes, I am. From Hellnack, actually, we just finished one activity event last Saturday night. It was the meet and greet, and I understand it was very, not so much well attended, although there were 30 or more people there, but I think they would take up to, I think they were thinking maybe they could handle 75. But those who were there had an awesome time. I don't know if any of you were, I could not attend, but I think, Jeff, you were there, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was a
And I
great
think-
time, yeah.
Yeah, everybody had such a good time. I think we're planning on doing one maybe in the winter, so that's a thought coming up, so that was meet and greet. The other thing is, the reason that your cookies are there is a thank you from Hellnack and the Scholarship Committee for allowing us to continue using the facility here for the garage sale and food concessions that we've been doing spring and fall in conjunction with the Heritage Lake garage sale. It was very successful again, this spring sale, and we sent $1,500, or I took $1,500 to the foundation for our scholarships again. The neat thing is that I found out when I was there taking the money that the endowment now has $40,400, which is terrific, which means at $25,000 we were able to award one scholarship with that money. Well, next year, they hold the money this year, and so next year. And if we can just get to $50,000, then there would be 2 scholarships. So that's something we're continuing to work on, actually. So the cookies are a thank you for letting us use the facility, and hopefully in the fall we'll be able to do that again. So I did give thank yous around, that was part of that. I do want to announce the 2 scholarship recipients for this year are both North Putnam High School graduates, and actually they're receiving certificates their awards this evening at an awards program at the high school. So Morgan Mason is one of the recipients, and the other one is Gabby Simonson. And again, as I said, they're both North Putnam graduates, North Putnam High School graduates. And I think that's it. With those events over with, the next one coming up for sure will be the boat poker run in August, and we're just taking a breather so we can rest now between now and then. After the wine fest, the garage sales, and the meet and greet.
Thank you, Jim. POA security.
There's no report.
Okay, you have the agenda. If there are no changes requested, I would take a motion to accept it.
I'll move to accept the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Minutes from April 8 board meeting and April 29. You should have received those.
I'll move that we accept those minutes as presented and as written.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. And treasurer's report. Dennis.
Okay, Treasury's report as of the end of April. Net income for the month of April was $201,832. We had total expenses of $197,549, which is a net income of $4,283. That means year-to-date, we've got total income of $579,559. Total expenses of $518,365 for net income year-to-date of $61,194. Cash, the current cash, we have checking accounts, checking and savings, we have $767,406. We have investment cash of $217,329, which brings our total cash available to $984,735.
Thank you, sir. Board committee reports. You're back up, Dennis, with A&E.
Okay, A&E summary. As you can imagine, the spring is a pretty active time for the A&E committee. A lot of people wanting to take on, work on projects. So in summary, for the last month, we had, for non-waterfront fences, we approved 2. For detached garages, they approved 1. 3 new houses. A permanent covered boat lift and dock was approved. A new deck was approved. A dock extension was approved. A deck with a roof was approved. A dock revision was approved, and then a sunroom was approved, but it's pending an updated plot plan. So as soon as they get an updated survey or plot plan to A&E committee, that project is approved. So that's it.
Thank you. Campground, Rick.
The only thing we have is the meeting this Saturday at 10 o'clock.
And cleanup committee. Jeff, you got a report on that one?
I do. On behalf of Chairperson Sarah Lackner, she would like to thank everyone for Saturday's talks away and cleanup event. There were 116 residents who gathered up all the trash and who brought in their junk and helped clean the property up. We filled up all of our containers, and we had to get extra containers. We had a lot of help from Charlie Land, who was absolutely invaluable because he was able to provide a container for overflow. But I've got more I'd like to talk about during open forum, so that's my report for this period here.
Okay, thank you, sir. Government committee, Mr. Olson.
Rick Olson, 51 Mill Springs. Just a few things here. As you all know, probably the commissioner's race was won by Andy Beck few of us know him, so if anybody has a relationship with him, congratulate him, and, you know, that's just, those relationships are huge. The commissioners allocated $250,000 to Heritage Lake Roadways from remaining ARPA funding. It's the federal grants. The same thing that the Clear Creek used for the treatment plant. This still has to be approved by the county council on May 21st, so keep your fingers crossed on that one. Should go through though. A couple of us have a meeting set with the county engineer Jim Peck on May 22nd. We're going to discuss some of the roadway strategies, how we just, you know, what we do with those funds and we're looking at going forward in the future. And then the only other thing I have is I think I've reported this before, the road on County Road 725 East between Crown Point Drive and US 36 is supposed to be overlaid this summer. And it's likely going to be the end of the summer, the way they talked at the commissioners meeting the other day. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lake Committee, Nina?
On behalf of Mary Petruzzi, who could not attend tonight as the board liaison for the Lake Committee, I will give their meeting minutes for April 24th of 2024. As many of you have seen at the Marina in Psalms, we had a Heritage Lake t-shirt design contest. The multiple designs were entered, 4 were picked as the top 4, and voting began at the beginning of May and ended on May 7th. I don't think we have a result yet, but the top vote to that design will be placed on apparel that will be sold in the Marina beginning Memorial Day weekend. As of April 24th, their account balance was $27,468.24. Their lake security report, they plan that lake security will start patrolling around the 1st of June. And the fishing report, the latest tournament at the time of this meeting was April 21st. And remember, the winners are determined by adding together the weight of the top 5 fish caught by each team. First place had 16.79 pounds, second place 16.33 pounds, and third place came in at 16.29 pounds. The big bass weight was 4.3 pounds. The feast and ski planning is in progress, and the Lake Committee allocated $500 to provide new life vests, ropes, and maintenance items for the security boat. And that is all.
Thank you. Excuse me. Clean water, no, no report. Siltation. Summer's not here, but I can tell you, since I attended, the primary discussion was talking about the health of our wells here at the lake, and how we are still waiting for the Conservancy to work with DNR to arrange for having test wells set up, one at the north end, one at the south end, because of the 2 different aquifers. So that was our priority for our last meeting, and we'll be working with pushing on Conservancy to help us move those forward. And the purpose is just to get test wells that can monitor the ebb and flow of our aquifers, so we can know where we're at. That takes me to siltation. Dwayne's not here, so I'll assume no report. Election, no report. And now manager's report.
All right, as of this morning, there are 234 lots that have not paid their 2024 assessments. The shortfall of those that have not paid totaling $70,668. After May 1st, the late fees and interest continue to build until accounts paid. Any unpaid assessments are turned over to collections on August 1st. So if you don't want to have your name in the paper or a wage garnishment, please get your assessments taken care of. For those that have taken care of it, thank you very much for doing your part. couple Fridays ago, I was notified that we had a water leak at the campground somewhere underneath the concrete in the, at the bathhouse and shower house. That was coming up through the floor. I'd like to say how much I appreciate my maintenance staff for staying late to fix this problem. I'd also like to thank resident Brandon Kimmel while allowing me to interrupt his time turkey hunting for his assistance to help locate the water and power lines underneath the ground. This saved a tremendous amount of time. There was a lot of manual digging, but we got it repaired and back. I got the water back on just before the camping weekend. The pool is currently getting hooked back up in preparation for opening day on May 24th. Water samples are going in on Wednesday and are required each week after that. Opening hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday from noon to 8 p.m. Hours can also always be affected by bad weather and lightning. In the event, we will post the closure on the website and our POA Facebook page. All playground locations are currently getting a thick bed of playground mulch added. Campground is completed. Clubhouse should be done by morning. We will finish up with Lincoln Park and Marina before the holiday weekend. I'd also like to thank Jan Salee, I seen that she left before I got to thank her, for donating. The Hillnack donated $500 towards the mulch. I'd also like to extend my appreciation to Shannon McCauley Excavating for selling the POA playground mulch at half price comparing to what we normally purchase. We will haul an estimated 20 to 22 dump trailer loads when we're all finished. Finally, Psalms Haven Restaurant, the month of April, the POA collected $6,522. That's a $304 increase over last year. Through April, the POA has collected $17,240, and that is $694 over last year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that moves us to old business, and we had our first vote on the proposed bylaws changes for the reporting of the property manager to the board president. So it's time for a second vote unless you've got other conversation that you need to have about that. So, go ahead.
I'll make a motion and then they can talk about it, but I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the proposed two new rules for the bylaws as submitted last meeting.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Go ahead, Dennis.
No discussion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So ruled. Thank you. New business. Dennis.
Okay, this is in regard to a rule modification the A&E committee is proposing. We discussed this at the last operations meeting, but obviously we can't approve anything until we get in this monthly board meeting. And I believe this will be the first vote on this. And what it relates to is, long story short, when a survey is required when a new project is being taken on. And I'll read the current wording and the proposed wording. Current wording says, construction of approved docks, boat lifts, and/or boathouses can only begin once the lot has been staked by a licensed survey with 4 stakes. So it's in essence saying a survey is required before any work can begin. Proposed wording is applications for the construction of docks, boat lift, and/or boathouses must include a new plot plan drawn by a licensed surveyor which shows the exact placement of the structure within the property lines projected into the water, with the structure dimensions clearly marked. The property lines must be staked by the surveyor with a minimum of 2 stakes on each side lot. At least 1 stake on each side must be visible from the water. So in essence, what the new language will do, it'll require a survey to be presented when they're going to get their project approved instead of before the work starts. And this is a really big deal. You know, I'm actually working with a situation right now with A&E where had this been required, there wouldn't have been a problem. I mean, because we would have known all the dimensions going into, A&E would have known the dimensions whenever they went to approve the project. So that's the proposal. And I don't know if we have any further discussion.
Can we get a motion to,
I'll move to accept this as proposed.
a second?
Second.
Now, any
Now we can
discussion?
talk, yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the new rule?
Aye.
Thank you, it carries. Okay, Ken, Psalms Haven electrical upgrade.
All right, this is just kind of formality. I sent out this quote. Ed was wanting to purchase a stove and supply it. I think he said his cost on that was gonna be like $19,000. He needed additional power that he requested us to pay for. He had a quote of, I think it was over $7,355. I reached out to Case Electric, a local electric company. He came out and gave us a quote for $5,880. Ed is going to credit us $1,600 towards our stove that we had purchased from him. So I sent out the email. There were 7 that responded for a 7-0 in favor of going ahead and moving forward with Case Electric in the amount of $5,880. Minus the credit of the $1,600, that'll bring it down to $4,280. And like I said, that was a 7-0 vote. So just for the record, that was done by email. So for the formality, if you guys want to put together a vote and for the record and minutes.
Yeah, to make it official for the record, I need a motion to approve
I move to approve
$4,280.
electrical upgrade at Psalms.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. It's official.
Did you record Jeff or Rick with the second? Like kind of at the same time? Rick?
Rick.
Thank you.
Okay, Dennis, you have another one.
Okay.
Variance for four.
Now, this is new to all the board members. You guys have not seen this. So I'm gonna go through it in detail, but you have all the documentation. And what it is, it's a request for a variance for JV 491. They would like to have a solid fence, which is against the A&E rules. But let me read through this for you and kind of lay it out for you. A&E's response to the request for a solid fence. It says the non-waterfront fence application for JV 491 calls for a 6-foot tall solid privacy fence to enclose the backyard. Rule 419.12 states that privacy fences cannot be more than 16 foot in total length, which is only a fraction of the length in the permit request. Rule 419.5 states that shadow box type fences is permitted, but this does not fit the needs of the applicant. If you go to the next page, you'll see what the homeowner has written out in terms of their logic for the request. It says, we are asking for a variance to the privacy fence rule due to having an in-ground pool being installed and having young children of our own. It is to protect ourselves as well as others surrounding us. When the rules were created, there were not homes on top of each other the way the area has developed today. Our property meets up to 2 backyards which combined have between 5 and 6 different dogs that we have seen and have come into our backyard. One home has 2 children that appear to be under the age of 2 and the other an 8-year-old. To us, the fence would provide extra safety and security from the children being intrigued to enter the backyard. The privacy fence would also provide a sound barrier and would provide protection from the other elements getting into the pool. The yards are so close, we would be providing our neighbors with their own privacy as well as our own. We will not be blocking anyone's view other than to our own private backyard. They literally look at each backyard and the back of the houses. Again, no obstruction of a beautiful view is being created by putting up a privacy fence. We have a neighbor on the same road which has an in-ground pool with a full privacy fence, image provided, and you have pictures of that. We have also come to find out that there is a registered sex offender in JV and another man who was being searched for this last weekend in our neighborhood. In sum, we would like to provide our children and family with a sense of security and protect our investment. The investment we'll be adding to our home. What you'll find also attached is a couple of copies of pictures that the homeowner sent out. And it clearly shows a solid privacy fence. April went and checked it out and said it is in fact a solid privacy fence. On the second page, you'll notice there's two fences. There's a chain link fence, and then inside that is the solid privacy fence around the pool. I pulled the file, went through the file in great detail, and there is approval of the chain link fence, but I see no record of a variance ever being applied for and the board approving the solid fence. So it appears that, yeah, there's a solid fence, but I don't see any record of that ever having been approved.
That's a whole nother separate.
I know. That's a whole different animal.
That's a whole nother thing for Ken to do.
Well, you know.
Congratulations.
Well, yeah. One thing about this was, this owner has changed hands that put this up. So this person purchased this home this way. So,
Complicated.
oh, yeah, it does a little bit, but.
I mean, but shouldn't, yes and no, but that's just like, that makes it very hard for us to approve or disapprove a variance if the neighbor had it and they just put it up roguely and then we're just gonna let them keep it.
Well, I don't think it's a neighbor. It's in the neighborhood.
It's in the neighborhood, it's down,
Oh, I thought you
it's down
said-
the road, it's not right next door.
I thought he said
It's-
his
it's-
neighbor.
It's down the road.
Sorry, I could barely read it in all these capitals.
Was this put up, if I remember right, was like 2011?
The pool was put in 2011. The chain link fence was put up in 2020.
They said it's a neighbor on the same road,
Yeah,
so it's pretty close. It's on the
yeah,
same road.
it's reasonable.
Unless it's Heritage Drive.
Yeah. But it goes back to, just because someone roguely did something wrong in the past doesn't justify someone doing it now.
Yeah,
No,
we
I-
still have an obligation to enforce the rules.
I agree.
I agree with that, I'm just saying, I think it's nice that they pointed this out, but this is a perfect example of just because, you want to do something doesn't mean you can just do it.
I understand the grounds of them pointing it out is probably to inquire if a precedent has been set, and I think it's been determined that there has been no precedent set as in regards to granting approval or variances for that privacy fence.
So do we need more discussion before we vote on the variance?
I think it just boils down to if the homeowner's reasoning supports granting variance. Basically, that's all it boils down to.
I personally can't see what a shadow box can't do.
Correct. You're gonna get the same result, you're gonna get the same result no matter each way you go.
Because I feel like if we approve this, then anybody that wants a privacy fence from here forward we will have set a precedent
Yep.
by approving that.
And I think we just denied one a month ago for the same thing.
Or is this the same one we talked about?
No, No, this is a different one. I think the main difference here is that there's a pool. You know, they're,
Yeah, but the shadow
Last
box
one
is
was just
gonna,
on.
right.
Oh, right, okay. But still, like,
Same.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna keep grass clippings out of a pool or leaves any better than a solid privacy fence.
So do we need him?
Do you want to call him Jeff?
Say what?
Jeff is raising his hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
That's okay. I agree with AJ. We didn't make the rules, right? Every one of us were moved here, rules were in place, and it comes back to my responsibility as a board member is to see that the rules are followed. And whether we like them or not, you know, as long as the rules are in place, we may make an extraordinary exception on occasion, but AJ, this is kind of a common thing, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's not, we had a similar one last meeting. So if we vote, I'm going to vote that we uphold the rules, and then someday maybe there'll be some effort to change a rule that's not any longer feasible. I know they talked about the properties changed and that might be a good point, may not be. I'm not right now equipped to make a comment about that. I haven't had any time to think about it, but
That person should maybe join the A&E committee, and they could be part of leading the charge if they do want to change something like that.
that's
I
exactly
mean,
right.
if that's something that's very important to them, they should volunteer and come on, join a committee and tell them what they think.
My point is that if the rules need to be changed, this isn't the way to do it. If the rules aren't fitting the property today like they were designed 50 years ago, this is not the place. We shouldn't change the rule here like this. We should enforce the rules. That's my take on it.
Well, sometimes it's difficult to say no.
Yes,
These are our neighbors.
I understand
Okay?
that.
But that is sometimes our job.
Yeah. I don't want to say no, but that's not, I'm here to protect HLPOA as a whole, as an entity, these rules, whether I like them or not, you know, so that's my summary of that.
So can I get a motion to either approve or deny the variance?
I'll make a motion to deny.
Second it. Any other discussion? All in favor of denying the variance? Thank you.
I don't know why that bugs me so much.
Okay, that brings us to the open forum, and most people already know, but I'll say it for effect anyway. Please keep your remarks civil, and please stand, identify yourself and your lot number. And with that, I'll open the floor to other discussion. Jeff?
Yep, as I said, I had something I wanted to bring up in open forum. My name's Jeff Blaze, 335 Patriots Landing. And Sarah Lackner Saturday was the chairperson of the cleanup committee, and she worked so hard. I mean, she is such a great chairperson, and everybody did. So she wanted to recognize people, and so I'm going to do that. Sarah Lackner was chairperson who oversaw the whole day. People participating, Andrew Crosley, a big thank you to him. Linda and Ron Freeman, a big thank you to them. Deb and Doug McConnell, big thank you to them. Kurt Stewart, Kurt's an integral part of, he goes beyond. He's the one that puts the signs up not only for clean sweep days, but for garage sale days. His wife gets the advertising out between her and April. They work together on that. Mike Strom was there, hard worker. My wife Judy Blades was there working real hard. Molly and Dave Bittner, they've lived here 2 years and they're wanting to get really involved and they really worked hard. Thanks to them. Again, Charlie Land was a huge help we wouldn't have had the success we had without his help. Ken Rozelle, can't thank you enough, okay? Ken and his staff here at Heritage Lake has supported the cleanup committee since the day he got the job. And without your support and the cooperation and working as a team together, it wouldn't be as successful as it is. And lastly, I want to not forget Tom Novak. Tom Novak has always been an integral part of the committee. He was present in spirit Saturday, but he couldn't make it, and he had good reasons that he couldn't make it. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up at open forum is I wanted everybody to know what what the mission statement is of the cleanup committee. And then you ask yourself, does the cleanup committee follow the mission statement? So here we go. Heritage Lake Cleanup Committee mission statement is to encourage, stress the word encourage, Heritage Lake property owners, residents, and guests to maintain and preserve all Heritage Lake properties in a safe, clean, beautiful, and environmentally friendly manner and condition. They do that with these objectives: to encourage proper disposal of unwanted materials and other items, to encourage proper disposal of hazardous waste, to collaborate with Heritage Lake staff members and other Heritage Lake committees when appropriate, to assist in promoting Heritage Lake policies and initiatives of the Board of Directors, to support the board and the property manager in the improvement of Heritage Lake property. Some of the initiatives and activities that are sponsored by the Cleanup Committee include annual trash and litter pickup day. We do that in April. Semi-annual garage sales, semi-annual clean sweep day, annual Talks Away day, annual shredder event day. So if you look at what went on, I thought it was a good day. I think you'll see that the people who participated and helped out were very valuable. And I want to quote my sociology professor at Purdue. This is copyrighted, so I give him the credit for it. But Professor McGee stated, "Groups don't act, people do." So Saturday's event was successful because of the people whose names I read off. We could add to that. The 115 participants that came and unloaded stuff, that's another thing. We met new people we didn't know. We made new friends. And we have an opportunity to get more people involved. So what I wanted to bring up is we have 9 committees at Heritage Lake, and I ask all people listening and that are here today, look at the board committees, look at there's 9 of them. Find a committee that maybe you're interested in. Find a committee in which you could volunteer and help and be a part of what we do, because we're all volunteers, and all the committees are just so important. All the groups and the clubs. Hellneck, we talked about that today, and their activity Saturday night was great. So all of these things that we're talking about are driven by volunteers, and there's more opportunity. The biggest payoff of all for the people who did this, the rewards that they got from the thank yous and the help and the feelings that they got by pitching in and helping throw other people's junk away. They all were, it was all well received, and they all got a great big reward out of that. So I wanted to just sum that up on open forum. So thanks for letting me do that.
Thank you. Any other forum comments? Yes, sir.
Rich Mullis, 259 Jefferson Valley. Like to tell everybody our sex offender, 313 Jefferson Valley, moved out. But he's got overgrown grass, so we need to get it cleaned up.
313?
313 Jefferson Valley. Yeah, the main road when you come in, the little lime greenhouse, so main road, so yeah. Another thing, we was talking about her, on this covenants change, I'm kind of for and against, so I want to ask something. He mentioned something about, if we wanted to walk way around this whole place, it's going to be millions and millions of dollars. and that'd be something for the people to decide. You guys have been working on this for like 10 years. What's the bottom number for when the people decide? Is that if a project's gonna be over 100,000, the people, is it gotta go for a vote if this passes? If it's gonna be over 1 million, what's that bottom number when the people get to get involved, so just the board?
I can't give you a number because I don't know, but I think when major projects fall outside of operational parameters and it becomes something new and different and maybe expensive, that's when you'll see something go to a vote. That's my opinion.
So there's no number?
Right.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yes?
Richard, do you have an address of that place with the tall grass?
313 Jefferson Valley. The main street when you come in.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Sharon Innes, 265 Mill Springs. The 2 wells that you said they were going to be checking to see what our water supply is out here. How will those two, what did you call those wells?
They would be test wells.
Test wells, right, yeah. Okay, so how can we know that in those 2 areas it's okay, but for the main part of the lake, maybe it's not? I'm just saying, we're putting 3 or 4 houses per acre in this area, and that's everywhere out here. So there's a lot of houses going in, a lot of people, and even if you don't have 2 or 3 people on a lot, if you've got these huge homes, they're going to be having people come in, or large families, that's using a lot of water. I'm just concerned about the cost of bringing water out here from Indy or from Greencastle.
Well, first of all, disclaimer, I am not an expert, but I can tell you what I've learned. And if you put a well into the aquifer, okay, and it measures the rise and fall of the water level for that well, all wells that tap the same aquifer are affecting that rise and fall of that test well.
Okay.
So that's basically how it operates. So getting the test wells is just the important thing. I mean, there's only a handful of test wells around the state. So that would not be unique for us to have 2, okay? But I should say it would be unique for us to have 2. But that's because we're supported by 2 different aquifers.
Oh, okay. And also the fact that, is there any we had the long-range planning committee out here, and I'm not sure what they would have had to do with, I know they used a Purdue study that the Purdue students did out here. I think we were charged, they charged us for doing it, but they used the Purdue students survey they did on our lake. But anyway, so what is the long-range planning for all of these houses? Are we planning to put a house on every green spot out here, tear down all the trees and just have nothing but houses out here?
Well, I don't think there is a strategy. Legally, if people own the property and they choose to clear the lot and put up a house, they can. Now, that said, I hope lots of people buy an extra or second or subsequent lot so that we don't lose all of our green space.
Right, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of deer out here and wild animals. I hate to see them lose their habitat.
I think a lot of people share that opinion, but legally, a property owner can do with their property what they choose, as long as they follow our rules.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Clear Creek had tons of lots out here that they had bought to hold, perhaps to stabilize, and now they've sold a bunch of their lots.
They've sold 2 or 3, but they sold them with strings attached so that, excuse me, they had to be deeded together with a property owner's already existing lot so that they could not put up another home and sell it separately. So,
You're that far.
so they still own something like 132 lots.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. And, let's see, as far as, the cost, when we, well, when I moved out here in 2003, but, there was a fee for, the houses had to get rid of their septic systems out here and hook up to the Clear Creek, right? And so I don't remember how much that fee was, but it was quite a bit because houses that were for sale that said, the sewer fees are paid. So I don't know if it was 10,000 or 20,000. So in today's money, that would cost a lot of money if people did have to have water pipes and stuff brought in here.
Millions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would take a huge bond issue, I think.
Okay, and so has there been any report about the water samples that were taken to check for contamination out here?
I think that's up to the individual homeowners. I don't know that there's been any studies on individual wells.
Oh, I know, but I mean, I didn't know if there had been a report from anyone who said that, I mean, their water is clear or not. I mean, I didn't, I wasn't in town when they did that.
Are you talking about well?
Yeah, because
Water-
of the
water.
radioactive stuff they've got out here at Rochelle.
I know back in November, excuse me for jumping in, but back in November, Putnam County came around and took water samples from some of the residents that signed up for it, but I never heard back any results from it, so.
Me either.
I'm assuming
Okay,
it's,
good.
I'm assuming it's good, because if it was bad, I would think they'd be all over it.
Yeah, we signed up for it too, and a number of months passed before the guy even showed up to
Right.
to take the
Of
sample.
course.
The sample, and I think he showed up maybe a month ago, finally, after several months, and I have not gotten anything back.
Okay, so maybe the next meeting you could give us a report if you do get that.
Yeah,
back?
if I get the results, I'll let people know.
Okay,
For
yeah,
what
I was
it's-
just curious. I mean,
For what it's worth, I turn one in or Psalms turns one in.
Okay,
We turn one in for the campground, we turn one in for here, and they all pass every month, every month.
good.
So,
Well, that's good to know. I mean, Rochelle's pretty far away, but I mean, the water underneath the ground, we can't see where it goes and comes from, so. Anyway, thank you.
We might be, hopefully, protected because our aquifers are separate from their ground source. Hopefully. Okay. Anything else for forum? If not, oh,
I can
Sure.
just chime in, I'm
Go
not
ahead.
out here, but Jeff, I don't know if you guys do this with your Tox Away Day, but they also have Drug Take Back Day. Have you guys heard of that? Does it go with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a place now permanently, Sheriff Stockton set that up, it's in front, right in front, as you go out the
Who
door,
picks
it's off
that
to the
up?
right.
Do you guys pick that up, or do?
Yeah, I take it in.
You take it, okay.
in.
That's an ongoing thing, that's a good
They
point to
just
bring
had it
up.
the other day, and so it made me think if you guys don't do that, I mean,
Mhm.
getting rid of all those are pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just usually, when it fills up, I just take it in to Trish.
Thanks for bringing that up.
okay. All right, if no other forum, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Let's get out of here. There is no executive meeting.